If it's Monday night, oh yes it is, the Wrestling Forum. Hello friends, Ridiculously Over Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Doing the show with a very heavy heart tonight. Not one, but two deaths that I want to get into. One that has to do with professional wrestling, and the other that has nothing to do with professional wrestling whatsoever, but the gentleman who passed away tonight, well, was a gentleman who I idolized very, very much, and I definitely want to acknowledge that. So we're going to be dedicating this show tonight to not one but two individuals who passed tonight. The first being from the world of professional wrestling, Iron Mike Sharpe. You remember Iron Mike Sharpe? He was pretty much a jobber at times. Other times he was over, but he used to wrestle on Superstars of Wrestling, Wrestling Challenge. Would appear on some matches as part of Primetime Wrestling back in the day. But Iron Mike Sharpe died this past weekend of what they're calling undisclosed causes. I'm pretty sure that's the same as natural causes. So he was 64 years old. And, like I said, he was on, I remember, when Fletch and I remember back in the day when we used to watch, Superstars of Wrestling and the Wrestling Challenge. I mean, he was like a mainstay on that show. And he didn't really do much in the World Wrestling Federation, but he actually did have some moments, championships and accomplishments. In 5-Star Wrestling, he was a tag team champion with IC Glory down there. Mid-South Wrestling Association, 2-time Mid-South Louisiana champion, 2-time Mid-South Mississippi champion. NWA All-Star Wrestling, he was an NWA Canadian tag team champion, Vancouver version with Salvatore Martino, and a former NWA Pacific Coast heavyweight champion, Vancouver version one time. Was also an NWA Mid-America heavyweight champion, a 3-time NWA Pacific Coast heavyweight champion, San Francisco version as part of NWA San Francisco, NWA Tri-State Brass Knuckles champion one time. In the professional organization of wrestling, he was a POW heavyweight champion one time. And then in Stampede Wrestling, Stampede Wrestling, founded by the late great Stu Hart, was an NWA International Tag Team Champion, Calgary version one time with Jim Wright, and was in the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance, a WWWA Intercontinental Champion one time. So those are the championships and accomplishments. He was best known for his finishing maneuver, the Iron Bomber. Also was known for the Bear Hug and the Pile Driver, and was also managed by another late great, Captain Lou Albano, as well as Kenny Casanova. And he went to the World Wrestling Federation in January of '83. He would spend the rest of his in-ring career there until 1995, a regular of WWF programming throughout the mid-'80s and early '90s, announced and self-proclaimed as Canada's greatest athlete, and was further distinguished by his near-constant yelling and grunting throughout a match. Managed by Captain Lou Albano, received a decent push, regularly defeating jobbers, and then culminated on April 30th of '83 when he went up against then champion Bob Backlund at the legendary Philadelphia Spectrum, and he would lose and would never reach main event heights again, and never held the title, and was primarily used as a jobber to rising stars in TV tapings, appearing on Piper's Pit. Went up against Ivan Putski in a match in 1987 in the Garden, would defeat Boris Zukov to reach the second round of the King of the Ring tournament in '88. And though he wrestled as a heel, he was also the tag team partner of none other than Hulk Hogan during a tour of Japan against stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling in early '84. And his last televised match was on June 6th of '95 in a losing effort against the Smoking Guns. And of course, he also had proteges, Mike Bucci, best known as Simon Dean. You remember Simon Dean? Chris Ford, the Haas brothers, and Charlie and Russ. And He was mentioned in 3 books by former personalities: the Dynamite Kid, Hulk Hogan, Gary Michael Capetta, and longtime WWF commentator and wrestler Gorilla Monsoon. And yeah, so that's all there is to say about that. And he was confined to a wheelchair in 2007 after a back injury and other health issues forced him into that. And you know, he may not have been one of the all-time greats, but he was definitely very well known. And he was trained by Dewey Robertson. He debuted in 1977, retired, like I said, in 95, June 6th of 95 to be exact. And he died in Hamilton, Ontario. It was first reported by Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com. Battling health issues in recent years, found dead in his apartment. One of the most popular enhancement workers in the business during his WWF run in the 80s. And that's all there is to say about it. So Iron Mike Sharpe, dead at the age of 64 due to natural causes. And the other big death, of course, that was reported earlier tonight. Glenn Frey, founding member of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, the Eagles, passed away at the age of 67. Various health issues claimed his life. And don't get me wrong, I'm heartbroken about my Iron Mike Sharpe. I'm sad about Iron Mike Sharpe because, I grew up watching him on the Superstars of Wrestling, and as well as the Wrestling Challenge and whatnot. But Glenn Frey, I grew up with his music, and Michael Fletcher did too. Fletcher and I are 2 of the biggest Eagles fans there is. I mean, heck, we've even compared ourselves to Glenn Frey and Don Henley, with me serving as like a Glenn Frey and Fletch serving as a Don Henley. And it's well documented that Michael Fletcher has sung some classic Eagles songs as part of his karaoke night with his 2184 crew. I mean, he has done numerous songs, including, of course, an amazing rendition of Hotel California, which is on the Facebook, courtesy of one of his 2184 crew members back in November of 2010. I mean, one of your greatest performances ever, Fletch, and I'm sure they'd be very proud of you. And he fought a courageous battle the last several weeks, but he succumbed to complications of rheumatoid arthritis, acute ulcerative colitis, and pneumonia. Yowza. I knew he was sick because, the Eagles were supposed to go in to, was supposed to be inducted as part of the world famous Kennedy Center honors. But because of Glenn's out, and they were supposed to go in this past year, but unfortunately that did not happen because of Glenn's issues. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that just a couple months later he'd be gone. Him and Don Henley wrote so many great Eagles songs, such songs as Desperado, Tequila Sunrise, Hotel California. The list goes on and on and on and on. You name any Eagles song and they practically wrote it. But those were the ones they were best known for. And of course, he wasn't just successful as a member of the Eagles, he also had a very successful solo career with such great hits such as You Belong to the City, The One You Love, Smuggler's Blues, Strange Weather, True Love, Soul Searching. Just so many wonderful songs that I grew up listening to. And so two very, very close to home deaths. Iron Mike Sharpe, a pioneer in Canadian wrestling history. And like I said, someone that Fletch and I grew up watching the Superstars of Wrestling and the Wrestling Challenge for so many years when we were kids. And then Glenn Frey, man, that's as close to home as it gets for me. So tonight we are dedicating this edition of the Wrestling Forum to the memory of both Iron Mike Sharpe and Glenn Frey. So, fellas, the show's for you. And that's all there is to say about that. So rest in peace and Godspeed to Iron Mike Sharpe and Glenn Frey. It's going to be very hard to do this show tonight, but we're going to do it anyway. So, of course, you know what we're going to do here. We're going to recap Monday Night Raw. Tonight was the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw for the Royal Rumble. And then following that, Michael Fletcher will have his ROH moment as he'll share the latest news and happenings in the world of Ring of Honor. And then I will share my TNA Impact Wrestling moment, where I will let you know what to expect tomorrow night on the next edition of TNA Impact Wrestling on Pop TV. And one more note before we start, and that is our other colleague, the Phenom Michael Bullock, will be coming in late. So hopefully he'll be joining us soon enough, and we'll catch him up on whatever he missed as when and if he comes in. So keep an eye out for the Phenom. He'll be here. He'll be here eventually. So, but for right now, it's myself and the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher. We got you covered. So with all that said, with all those out of the way, let's move on to our first match here on the Wrestling Forum, or a segment rather. Monday Night Raw was live tonight from the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. As like I said, this was the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. And it started off with an in-ring segment. We had the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns in the ring. But before I start on that, what a great video package honoring Martin Luther King Day. That was absolutely fantastic, by the way. I wanted to share that as well. But then not only do we have Roman Reigns in the ring, but we also had an interruption by Chris Jericho, and then the League of Nations, and it would lead into a match with Roman Reigns going one-on-one with Rusev, with Chris Jericho as the special guest referee. So let me just say it like this. The opening segment, I thought it was the second best segment of the night. It came off really good. I mean, Roman's slowly but surely getting better on the mic, even though I know there are some people who thinks he needs work. Jericho, well, we all know how great he is. I mean, we don't have to say a bad word about that. League of Nations doing their thing. And then it leads into a match with Roman Reigns against Rusev. And it was Roman Reigns who would win the match in 13 minutes and 50 seconds. One of the top fights of the night. I would have to give it a solid 3 stars for the effort. I mean, nice match here. And came off really well, especially after the commercial break. Live crowd was very hot for Chris Jericho as he ejected all members of the League of Nations because of outside interference. So that's all there is to say about that. And it would set up a highlight, and Jericho would also set up the highlight reel for later on with special guests Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Recipe for disaster there, but in a good way. So the segment for me was the second best segment of the night. And as far as the fight is concerned with Reigns and Rusev, 13 minutes and 50 seconds, I would have to say one of the top fights of the night. Not quite the fight of the night, but it's definitely one of my top 3 fights of the night for sure. Solid 3 stars for that effort. So with all that said, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on the opening segment as well as the Reigns and Rusev fight, 2 for 1.
Yeah, most definitely. I really thought that this was an absolute great way to start Monday Night Raw. Solid way to jump it off. I mean, we had a very good match between, Roman Reigns and Rusev. I really enjoyed it, but I also liked the way that they were setting it up. Jericho and Reigns in the ring, doing the rock paper scissors thing, doing some jokes and everything else, and then ripping on the League of Nations, basically almost making us laugh a lot. I think it was a very solid segment. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good way to start Monday Night Raw. And then the match itself, I thought was a solid fight. I'll agree with you, Florio. I'll give it 3 stars. I mean, I really liked what came out of it. more than anything else. So no, I definitely liked what I saw, and it definitely was a nice little precursor to what was going to be a very interesting night, to say the very least, right here on Monday Night Raw. So with that said, let's just move on.
Well, it's a shame that Bullock's not here because I'm sure he would have given us his infamous "I can't take it" face because of what we had here. As you all know, tomorrow night marks the start of a brand new season of Total Divas on the E Network. And with Total Divas back, you know what else is back? The dreaded Total Divas Showcase match. Ooh, boy. But, you know, something interesting came out of this. It was Brie Bella with Alicia Fox, as always, going up against the returning Natalya. And in Natalya's corner, the naughty little minx from Norwich, England, Paige. And the winner of the match, in 1 minute and 20 seconds, it was Natalya via the sharpshooter. Sounds like a typical ho-hum diva fight to me, wouldn't you say, Fletch?
Yeah, unfortunately, this was. The thing that really got me wondering was, is Paige a face again? I mean, that's really the biggest takeaway from this, is that what's the status of Paige? Because remember, going in, but prior to her being on a sabbatical, a lot of people are quoting a lot of rumors going around that, you know, Paige suffered a concussion and that's why she's been off TV for a little bit. There was a lot of rumors about what was going on with Paige. Well, at the end of the day, now we got this very interesting dilemma. I think it's the best way that we could call it. And yeah, I mean, it was a very short fight, nothing really to talk much about. But I mean, Natalya gets a big win, which is great for us because we're big Natalya fans. We've been waiting for her to get a big break, do something great, and hey, she did. So maybe this might be a nice little precursor. Yes, it's all about the Total Divas, and oddly enough, for you, like you said, the brand new season debuts tomorrow night on the E Network. This is, I believe, season 3, season 4. So I mean, we'll wait and see what happens with the show. Nothing more to say about it. To me, I could give this an NA, easy to call, but I think the best call is a dud. You could probably yell worst fight of the night, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So with that said, we move on. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, it's an absolute dud for me. It's the second worst fight of the night. There was one match that I actually thought was worse. That was actually worse than this, to be honest. It was an absolute dud. I mean, yes, and I hate to say it, but typical ho-hum diva fight. I mean, but then again, that's what Total Diva Showcase matches are usually half the time. Typical ho-hum diva fights, and that's exactly what we got here. Way too short for my liking. And it's a shame because these are two of the better wrestlers. I mean, Brie Bella's gotten so much better, but then again, we all know Natalya's body of work. And while I'm happy to see Natty get a win, I would have liked to have seen, you know, a much more competitive match because these two divas are two of the better workers. You know, like I said, Brie Bella, and not to mention Nikki, have gotten so much better over the last couple of years. But nonetheless, great to see Natalya win, and Natalya and Paige as an alliance. That could be very interesting going forward. That's very intriguing. So, but to me, it's an absolute typical ho-hum diva fight, second best fight of the night. So, not even going to get into anything else. So, so with all that said, let's move on to our next match. We had a 6-man tag team match. We had the Wyatt family. We had the 3 original members of the Wyatt family: Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper, along with Braun Strowman, going up against the Dudley Boys and Ryback, 6-man tag match. Winners of the match in 5 minutes and 45 seconds. It was the Wyatt family, thanks to Eric Harper and the discus clothesline on Bubba Ray Dudley. Well, I'll give this a solid 2 stars for the effort. I mean, you know, it was a solid 6-man tag match. And Wyatt's going in this match makes sense, given that they are trying to play him up, that they will be dangerous in the Royal Rumble match. Not to mention, give Fletch and I and all of us in the IWC, a reason to take them seriously as major threats in the Royal Rumble match. And so putting the Wyatts over in this match, logical, you could say, some would say predictable, yes, but this was definitely necessary and acceptable, makes total sense. And you definitely want to have the Wyatt family, all 4 members of the Wyatt family, considered as serious threats, especially with this upcoming Royal Rumble matchup. So that's pretty much it. So solid 2 stars for the effort. So Michael Fletcher, the 6-man tag, the Dudleys, Ryback, the Wyatts, 5 minutes, 45 seconds. I thought it was a 2-star match. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
I disagree with you. I think you definitely underscored this, Anthony Florio. I cannot believe you. Yeah, I'm going to give this 2.5 stars. I think this was a very good fight. I thought this was a lot more better than the way you're talking about it. I thought the ending was really good. I loved how they ended the fight. It was very chaotic, very good. I thought it had a little taste, not a big taste, but a little glimpse of Shakespearean drama. Very little, but it did. I thought I felt it. I loved the back and forth, especially at the end. So because you had, it looked like Ryback was going to go for the shell shock, gets pulled off. Then we almost had a setup for the 3D that basically got thwarted. And the next, you get, like you said, the huge close line by Harper on Bubba for the 1-2-3. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was solid. Loved everything about it. So no, I disagree with you, Florio. I think you definitely underscored it. 2.5 stars is my rating. Let's go on to the next part.
Yeah, you can make the argument that it was a 2 to 2.5 star match, but yeah, I certainly understand where you're coming from on that, Fletch. But that said, we're going to move on to our next match. Now I wish Michael Bullock was here, because I know for sure the I can't take it face would have come right out.
Do you want me to do it for you, Florio? Because I got my towel ready. I could do it.
That would okay. Yeah, that would.
The infamous Michael Fletcher. I
can't take it.
Well, not that I can't take it, but what I used to do.
The infamous face palm. Yeah.
Yep.
Because of the fact that we had the world's largest athlete, The Big Show, going up against a member of the Social Outcast, Heath Slater. And the winner of the match, in 55 seconds, it was The Big Show. Big Show defeats Heath Slater in 55 seconds and then proceeds to take out all members of the Social Outcast via the WMD. So, Michael Fletcher, I know where you're going with this, but just give it to us anyway.
No, it's a complete and utter dud, and I'm actually gonna save you guys the palm face. I don't even think it really needs to be worth it. So, I mean, you said it, Florio. It was an absolute drubbing. This was just Big Show looking really, really, really strong for the Royal Rumble match. I think that's what it is. You want to make you kind of have to give the Giant the opportunity. Basically, you want him to look so strong and so amazing that he goes in as the man, possibly to win the Royal Rumble. And, it's almost in that type of situation where you're just like, good grief, what the hell? We all know what's going to happen. We all know what's going to happen in this. Big Show's going to go whatever he can do, try to get the moment, try to win the Royal Rumble. But here's the thing. It's going to be one of those nights where, you want to talk about trying to put the opportunity of a lifetime, and that's what it is. It's basically, you're making the Big Show the Giant that he is, and you want to make him, and you want us to think in the bottom of our heads or in the back of our minds that he is one of the favorites, not the favorite. We know who the favorites are. Lesnar, Roman. There's one other person, but I don't think I'm allowed to say that person's name. But you know who he is. Then another person who's a favorite in the Royal Rumble, who's being rumored to be in the Royal Rumble match, but we can't say his name yet either. So whatever the case may be, that's what we got. And unfortunately, we just lost Anthony Florio. Oh my. Okay. So I guess I'm going to be running the ship for a little bit. The next thing we had is actually, well, we had a big announcement that came out, and basically it was that Roman Reigns will be the number one entrant in the upcoming Royal Rumble match. Now, what they did was that I guess there was a backstage moment, and they said that the number one entrant was Roman Reigns. He is going to be the number one guy going into the Royal Rumble match. And now he is really in a distinct disadvantage, because now you got to believe that with Roman at number one, all bets are off about this. I mean, so we'll wait and see what happens. Roman Reigns is number one, and well, is this all right, Anthony? Welcome back. No, I was just making my brief little observation, because we're talking about how Roman Reigns ended up getting the number one entrant in the upcoming Royal Rumble match. So,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, kid. So
I don't know what in the world happened. I mean, one of those video call error things or something.
yeah, it's happened to me before, where what it could have been was just a brief mistake on the network or on the internet. Who knows? So no, it's fine. It's fine, kid.
What you talked about, obviously, that worst fight of the night, that absolute dud with the big Slater.
Yep.
Obviously.
And then what I did was I did a little sidebar, and I talked about the announcement about Roman Reigns being the number one entrant in the Royal Rumble match. And I can shenanigans, authority shenanigans, Mr. Florio, on that one.
It reminded me of 1999 when they did the same thing to Stone Cold Steve Austin, when it was Vince and Shane McMahon. Y'all remember that? And where they said Stone Cold's number one. They had the tumbler and everything else. And yeah, Roman Reigns' name was obviously on all the slips. That's pretty much all there is to say about that. Nobody else's names was on any of the slips. And I'm not at all surprised. I mean, come on. Did you really think Roman Reigns was going to be any other number but one? Come on. I mean, I honestly thought that they were going to put him at least in I knew he was going to get an early draw, but number one? Really? No, I knew it. I knew they were going to make him number one. I knew it. I had this feeling in my gut, and I'm not at all surprised that they did it. Doesn't surprise me at all. I know it may surprise you, but me, not so much.
Well, I wasn't surprised, but I was thinking at least him being in the top two, being one of the first two. But to make him like clear-cut number one, you know what that means. The way that they're gonna incorporate this lineup, I would be stunned if Big Show's not number two. Put the Giant out there, make him go after Roman Reigns, beat him the hell up, so that who I believe will be number 30, and my prediction to win the Royal Rumble, all he just has to do is just scrap the bones and that's it. Pick the bones and that's it.
Okay. So, yeah, the announcement was made that Roman Reigns was the number one entrant in the Royal Rumble. Like I said, I'm not at all surprised. I mean, I expected it all along, and that's all there is to say about it. So, so Fletch did the little sidebar there. Sorry again for that little glitch there, but we're not. I mean, we were really hoping that Vince and Stephanie would show that it wasn't rigged by drawing another name, of course. Then Reigns would be the second entrant, which is the same as being the first. That said, at least they stacked the deck. It would have been ridiculous for their characters to be hell bent on getting the title off him, yet to let him have a random number in the match. Let's just hope that Reigns doesn't act like an oblivious goof by being pissed about it. Everyone knew this was coming, so surely his character should have known it too. So we're just gonna move on to our next matchup, which was our second Divas match. We had Tamina, accompanied by Naomi, representing Team Bad. Of course, unfortunately, Sasha Banks still on the injured list, going up against the last kicker, Becky Lynch. Excuse me. Winner of the match in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. It was Becky Lynch via the disarmer. Definitely the better of the two Diva fights. I could only give this about 1.25 to 1.5 stars at the absolute best for this. I mean, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. I mean, Tamina, not really one of the better workers in the Divas division. She's one of the weaker links, if I'm being honest with you. I'm just not really feeling her body of work, but Becky Lynch, got a decent match out of her. Nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. So I'm just going to leave it at that. 1.25 to 1.5 stars for that. Definitely was the better of the two Diva fights, far and away. But we have another match for the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Becky Lynch is going to get another shot at Charlotte and the Divas Championship. Becky Lynch basically called out Charlotte, said, I want a title shot. Well, it really started last Thursday on SmackDown in an interview segment with Renee Young. And then she went on to say, I want a title shot. I want to face you, Charlotte, at Royal Rumble for the Divas title. And Charlotte said no. She's like, I already beat you. I mean, why should I have to give away a free title shot against you just to pander to the fans? And she's like, no way. But then Becky Lynch, doing what all challengers usually do, get under the skin of the champ. She not only took shots at her, she also, of course, took shots at, her father, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, really berating him. And then ultimately, it was Ric Flair who accepted the match on behalf of Charlotte. And all I can say is, if looks could kill, did you see that angry and pissed off look on Charlotte's face after that?
Oh, yes, she was.
Oh. Did you see those eyes? Ooh. Those were eyes I wouldn't really care to have looking at me, even though I love the girl. Trust me. But, if looks could kill, man. I'm not going to say the rest of the joke the rest of Jerry Lawler's infamous joke. I think you already know that story by now. So, but man, if looks could kill, that's all there is to say about it. But nonetheless, it is official. Charlotte will defend the Divas Championship one more time against her former tag team partner and best friend, the last kicker, Becky Lynch. Perfect addition to the Rumble card. The undercard really needed something, and tonight, did the undercard get loaded? You thought the Royal Rumble match was loaded? The undercard is just as loaded. And I think with the additions to the undercard tonight, this could go down. If everything works out great, everything gets booked properly and gets the proper amount of time and everything else, this could go down as one of the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view events / network specials of all time. To me, still to this day, I still consider the 2001 Royal Rumble pay-per-view event as the overall best Royal Rumble event of all time. I gave that a solid 9.5 out of 10. Although you can make an argument for 2013 as well, and 2007, 2009, and some other great Rumble events. But this event here, based on the undercard that we got tonight, in addition to that Rumble match, this could be one of the greatest of all time. Could be. I hope so. We'll see. The match is 1.25 to 1.5. So, Fletch, your thoughts on Becky Lynch against Tamina, and your early thoughts on Charlotte and Becky Lynch for the Divas title at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, no, I think this is definitely going to be a very interesting dilemma. First off, let's call what we need to call. I'll give it about 1.5 stars. No doubt about it. I agree with what you said about that. This was way better of the two diva fights. No doubt about that. I really liked what I saw in that situation. And then as far as the diva title fight, this was expected. I think we all could agree that she deserves that Becky Lynch does deserve another opportunity at the Divas Championship after, we saw the fight, the title match on the first edition of SmackDown back on the USA Network, how Charlotte stole the fight, stole the championship, and won the match. And no, I agree with it. I like it. I'm definitely all for it. So there's really nothing more to say about it. So with that said, it is what it is, and let's just move on to the next fight.
Okay, let's see. Then we had ourselves a tag team match. Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose teaming up with Lucha Dragon Kalisto, going up against League of Nations members Sheamus and new United States Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio, accompanied, of course, by King Barrett. Winners of the match in 13 minutes and 25 seconds. It was Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio via a bro kick from Sheamus on Kalisto. Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on this tag team match?
Fight of the night. Fight of the night. No doubts about it. 3.5 stars is my rating for it. This was absolutely phenomenal. The action was fast paced. I love Kalisto and Dean Ambrose as a team. I think they were the perfect tag team. Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus, they are just as good as well. I loved the action. The action really was fast paced, driven. It told a great story. And I'm telling you guys, Kalisto is a major star in the making. I think he could be the next Rey Mysterio. I know that's a big, tall order to say, and that's a big shoes to fill because of the great success Rey Mysterio had. But if Kalisto stays healthy, I believe he's the next great Mexican young talent that could be. I mean, you want to talk about the strapping the jetpack on the back? I mean, I think he would be absolutely phenomenal. Alberto Del Rio is already polished, well proven, one of the top guys in wrestling right now. Then on top of that, Sheamus, former world heavyweight champion, nothing more to say about him. Dean Ambrose, what is there to say about Dean Ambrose? Dean Ambrose is probably one of the most popular guys in WWE today. Kalisto is a bright young talent, and this guy, I mean, when I saw him on NXT, I was admired. I was very impressed. Now more than ever, Kalisto is a bright star, man, and I can't wait to see him in the Royal Rumble event. And oddly enough, he gets another shot at possibly becoming the United States Heavyweight Champion. That's another match that just got officially announced for Royal Rumble. Alberto Del Rio putting the U.S. title on the line against Kalisto in a return fight. So definitely, this was fun. I mean, this was a great fight. Fight of the night. 3.5 stars. Florio, go.
You ain't just whistling Dixie there, brother. I agree with you 100%. It was the fight of the night, no doubt about it. 3.5 stars, no question about it. Very good tag team match. Kalisto and Del Rio continue to work well together. And we can't forget about Dean Ambrose and Sheamus. I mean, I saw those two main event, the SmackDown taping I went to back in August. Yes. I mean, yes, that was a very good main event too, I'll be honest with you. But I'll tell you what, I mean, wow. I told you that undercard was loaded, didn't I? And now we have yet another match for it. Alberto Del Rio defending the United States Heavyweight Championship against Kalisto. Obviously, Kalisto invoking the rematch clause because you all know Alberto Del Rio regained the United States Heavyweight Championship on the last edition of SmackDown with a little help from King Barrett. And I love that he won it with the cross arm. I mean, that the cross arm was his bread and butter anyway. I mean, to be honest, I'm not really feeling that Warriors way-like maneuver that he does. I like the cross arm better. It's much more devastating, and I'm glad he won it with the cross arm. I was very happy to see him win it with that. So that's just my personal opinion. But 3.5 stars is definitely the rating for this fight. Some great back and forth action, some great near falls. Definitely, you could definitely say there was definitely some Shakespearean drama in this match. No doubt about it. You know how much we love that here. So, what else is there to say? I mean, Kalisto and Del Rio, the rubber match at the Royal Rumble, United States Heavyweight Championship. That could go either way. Honestly, it really can. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So with that said, 3.5 stars, fight of the night. So with all that said, we're just going to move on to our next segment, which match. Well, we're not going to get into that stupid backstage segment. We're not going to do that. No way. It was Jey Uso with Jimmy Uso going up against Biggie Langston with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. This was a one-on-one match. Winner of the match, in what my review sheet is saying, in roughly 10 minutes, it was Jey Uso. Well, actually, it was Big E. I stand corrected. It was Biggie Langston who won the match via the big ending. So after outside interference from Xavier Woods. Solid 2.5 stars for this fight here. Good one-on-one match. I mean, there was some good action throughout. And guess what? I said the undercard was loaded, right? Well, add another match to that undercard. Another expected match. The New Day will defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against the Usos. So I think we pretty much have our undercard all set now. So should be a great tag team match. I mean, that's another one that can go either way. Part of me thinks New Day retains. Another part of me thinks the Usos are going to get the three-peat because this would make them 3-time champions if they get it done. So, and remember, Usos winning the Slammy Award for Tag Team of the Year. Honestly, I disagree with that. New Day should have won it, but then again, popularity contest. You know how I am about that. So that's the only reason why they won it. They were out half the year, so still don't understand why. But it is what it is. So 2.5, solid 2.5 stars for this match. Tag team title fight at the Rumble should be a good one. So that's all I can say about that. So with all that said, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on this Jey Uso versus Biggie Langston match, and early thoughts on that tag team title match at the Rumble?
2.5 stars. I'll give you that. I agree. Definitely the correct rating on that. As far as the fight goes, I don't know. I don't think it's as clear cut as it may be. I kind of feel like the New Day is going to win it. I think they'll keep the belts a little while longer. I think they're going to try to have them lose it. I kind of feel like he'll probably lose the fight at WrestleMania. That would probably be the best, my best guess, my best bet. But other than that, I think that would be the way I would say the fight's going to end. But, I mean, I think the New Day will keep the belts for a little while longer, and that's all I'll say about that. So, with that said, we'll just move on. And we got our third member in the house. So, we got some catching up to do, Bullock. Florio, set him up.
Absolutely. Michael Bullock, well, good news, my friends. For those of you who are, expecting your Michael Bullock fix, you're going to get it right here and now. The Phenom has arrived. So the Phenom, Michael Bullock, is here. And, like we always do whenever Mr. Bullock runs late, of course, we're going to catch him up. And here we go. Mr. Bullock, we started it off with a 2-for-1 segment. We had an in-ring segment, Roman Reigns, interrupted by Chris Jericho in the League of Nations, and then it led into a match, Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Chris Jericho is the referee, with Roman Reigns winning said match in 13 minutes and 50 seconds. So, Bullock, your thoughts on all of that?
All right. Well, first off, hello, friends. This is the Phenom, Mike Bullock here for another edition of the Wrestling Forum here. Delighted to be here as always. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fine segment to start off this edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, Jericho and Reigns had a nice little exchange, and then of course the the League of Nations came in, and Jericho, well, being typical Y2J, getting all over the League of Nations, and basically he made himself the said, how about Roman Reigns against Rusev, and I will be the special guest referee. So, yeah, so we get the match. So, yeah, and as far as the match goes, I'm going to go 2.5 to 3 stars as my rating for the match. I mean, I thought it was a good match for what it was, and, yeah, of course, I mean, the action was fine for what it was, and I'm sure you guys pretty much touched on it. So the segment was good, while I give it 2.5 to 3 stars. So yeah, so really got nothing more to say. So give me the next match, Florio.
It was the first of 2 Divas matches, and guess what, Bullet? The return of the dreaded Total Divas Showcase match. You know how much we love those, right?
Ugh.
It was Brie Bella with Alicia Fox going up against the returning Natalya with Paige in her corner, and it was Natalya winning the match in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Ugh. Typical ho-hum diva fight, absolute dud. I mean, it was, yes, a Total Divas Showcase, but great to see Natalya back, and great to see Paige back. And of course, for those of you who don't know, of course, Paige was obviously on this show on MTV called Ridiculousness. It's a funny show where they show clips of some funny things, and Paige made an appearance.
We know the show, Bullet. We love the show too.
Yeah. Well, it's just to let the rest of the viewers who are not familiar with it. So, yeah. So, and the funny thing is, I mean, the last time we saw these two, I mean, in the ring together, I mean, they were basically going at each other, and now here they are side by side. It's strange, but I guess things are all right when it comes to Natalya and Paige. So absolute dud. I'll have to say this. I'm gonna have to say this was the worst fight of the night. So with that being said, Florio, give me the next match.
You might want to rethink that worst fight of the night. I'm just saying. But
well, I'll say one of the worst fights of the night.
Okay. Then after that, we had ourselves a 6-man tag team match: the Dudleys and Ryback against the Wyatt family. Braun Strowman was the odd man out, so I already know who the other 3 men were. So, but it was Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, Bray Wyatt of the Wyatt family winning that 6-man tag with Ryback and the Dudleys in 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So, your thoughts on that 6-man?
I'm gonna give it an even 2 stars for the match. I mean, it was. I thought the match was good for what it was, but it was too short for my liking. So yeah, So what happens next? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So you guys pretty much touched on it. So there's really nothing more to say. And Florio, let's move on. And now I see what is the worst fight of the night.
Yes, it was the Big Show one-on-one with Social Outcast member Heath Slater. Big Show wins the match in 55 seconds.
Boy, absolute dud. Worst fight of the night. Pointless, unnecessary, unacceptable, inexcusable, irresponsible, borderline reprehensible. You know what? I'm not going to get into any more of this nonsense. So let's just move on.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And then, of course, the announcement was made. They had Vince and Stephanie out on stage with the infamous Royal Rumble tumbler that we've seen for so many years. And it was announced that Roman Reigns will be the number one entrant in the Royal Rumble. No big surprise, right, man? We knew this was coming.
Yeah, I think we pretty much knew that this was going to happen. That we knew that Roman Reigns was going to be the number 1 entrant into the Royal Rumble match, just to make sure that he has no chance of winning it. But of course, we know the history. Only 2 men have won from the Royal Rumble from the number 1 spot. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Jericho. Could Roman Reigns do it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out Sunday night. So Florio, let's just move on.
I got to correct you there, Bullock. Shawn Michaels, yes. Shawn Michaels was the first to do it from number 1 in 1995. The other, right first name, wrong last name. It was Chris Benoit.
Oh, Chris Benoit. I'm sorry.
In 2004.
Yeah.
2004 in Philadelphia. Shawn was in 95 in Tampa, so we all remember that. Yeah, Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit, the only 2 men to win the Rumble from the number 1 position. Ironically, the same number that has drawn the same number of winners as the coveted number 30 spot, also to Undertaker and John Cena. We'll get into all that Rumble stuff when we do our or if we have a preview show on Saturday night. It just depends on the weather, of course, according to Derek. So with all that said, we're just going to move on as we continue to catch Mr. Bullock up. We had a second Divas match, Bullock. Becky Lynch going up against Tamina, who had Naomi in her corner, of course, as part of Team Bad. Becky Lynch won the match in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, and the announcement was made that Becky Lynch will challenge Charlotte for the Divas Championship at the Royal Rumble. So your thoughts on all that?
All right, I'm gonna give it 1.5 stars as my rating for the match. I mean, I'll tell you what, it was better than the match we had with Natalya and Brie Bella. So yeah, and basically the action was fine for what it was, and of course Becky locks in the disarmer, gets Tamina to tap out, and then she gets on the mic and asks Charlotte for a Divas title shot, and at first Charlotte denies her of it, and then Ric Flair said, "You know what? You're on," and basically Charlotte basically doesn't look too happy about it. So now we got this match at the Royal Rumble. Charlotte, Becky Lynch for the Divas title. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with this match. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on.
And then we had ourselves a tag team match. The Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose teaming up with Lucha Dragon Kalisto, going up against the U.S. Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus with King Barrett in their corner. Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio win the match in 13 minutes and 25 seconds. So your thoughts on this tag match?
I'm gonna say this was the fight of the night in my honest opinion. This was a 3.5 star match. I mean, this was a tremendous tag team match for what it was. So yeah, I mean, great action by both men, and of course it was announced, of course, that Alberto Del Rio will be defending the United States Heavyweight Championship against Kalisto at the Royal Rumble. So yeah, really nothing more to say. So you guys probably pretty much touched on it. So let's move on, Florio.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we had a one-on-one match, Jey Uso with Jimmy Uso going up against Biggie Langston with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Biggie Langston won the match in roughly 10 minutes. So your thoughts on that, as well as the upcoming tag team title match that was announced for the Royal Rumble with the New Day defending against the Usos.
All right, I'm gonna give this somewhere between 2 to 2.5 stars as my rating for the match. I mean, yeah, I thought it was a real good match between the two, and I mean between Biggie and Jey Uso. So yeah, so it gives of course Biggie and of course the rest of the New Day a little momentum going into that tag team title match at the Royal Rumble. So what happens next? So we'll have to wait and see. So with that being said, let's move on, Florio.
All right. Let's see. I believe we're all caught up now. So So with all that said, we move on to an 8-man tag team match. It was Titus O'Neil, Mark Henry, R-Truth, and Adrian Neville going up against the Cosmic Wasteland, Stardust, and the Ascension, along with Tyler Breeze. And the winners of the match in 6 minutes and 20 seconds, it was Neville's team via the Red Arrow on Adrian Neville. And I believe I start this one off. Am I right on that? Because I think Fletch led off on the last one before Bullet got in. So,
Yep, it's you, Florio. You lead off.
all right. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really have any high hopes going into this match, but I'll say it like this: solid match. Give it about maybe 2.25 to 2.5 stars, and I'll even go as far as to call it my sleeper fight of the night. I mean, like I said, I thought this was going to be like a dud enhancement fight, in all honesty, but there was actually some halfway decent action throughout this fight, and I'm very surprised. I mean, I didn't really think this fight was going to get much time, but I thought it was going to be over in like 2 to 3 minutes. But for this to get about 6.5 minutes, I mean, that's a lot longer than I initially thought. So very good. I mean, but here's the thing, though. My only gripe is this. How about paying Tyler Breeze main roster money, yet sending him back to NXT where they won't treat him like a nobody? What a waste. That's all I can say about that. I mean, they have him paired up with Summer Rae. Unfortunately, that went over like a lead balloon. So you got to feel for that young man. Simply is.
Wait a minute. He's back in NXT?
No. I'm just reading what Jason Powell said. This is from Jason Powell. This is something that Jason Powell said on the review I'm reading here. He said, "How about paying Breeze main roster money, yet sending him back to NXT where they won't treat him like nobody?" He's just suggesting they send him back to NXT. He's not back in NXT, no. So, just to clarify that, he feels it's a waste of talent, and I agree 100%. He deserves better. So, but we'll see. You never know. So all I can say, 2.25 to 2.5 stars for that 8-man sleeper fight of the night. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on that 8-man? 6 minutes and 20 seconds, the time of the fall, by the way.
What was your rating, Florio?
I gave it between 2.25 and 2.5.
Yeah, I'll say 2.25 stars is my rating for the match. I mean, when I heard of this, I was like, this isn't gonna be anything good, but yeah, this turned out to be much better than what I expected. So, so Florio, you pretty much touched on it all. So 2.25 stars. Fletch, your thoughts on this match?
Slight disagreement. I'll give it at least a solid 2 stars. I think it was okay for what it was worth, but I'm not going to ride anything home about it. I think you're definitely absolutely right about how this turned out. As far as anything else goes, there's really nothing more to say, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And, guys, let's just move on to the next thing. Actually, this is the big one, the very interesting highlight reel to close the show. So, Florio, let's go. It's all yours.
Yes, it was the highlight reel. It was Chris Jericho. His guests were Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, but Paul Heyman would come out first. And Paul Heyman would have a verbal exchange with Chris Jericho, and then out came Brock Lesnar, out came Roman Reigns, and then all hell breaks loose after that. The Wyatt family shows up. The League of Nations shows up. Oh, I mean, what else is there to say except Michael Bullock? How in the world can you describe all this mayhem?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna try my best to try to describe it. Of course, Jericho. I mean, I'll have to say this was the segment of the night. First off, I mean, Jericho. I mean, he's about to bring out Brock Lesnar, and then Heyman and Lesnar has a nice little encounter, and of course, basically saying, you know what, Jericho, last time you were face to face with Brock Lesnar, it wasn't quite something for the highlight reel, but it was for the Brock Lesnar highlight reel. And he says, you know, you know what, Jericho? You don't have anything to worry about because my client is not focused on Jericho. He is focused on Roman Reigns. And then Jericho then brings up Heyman's campaigning for Brock to be the main event of WrestleMania. And Heyman didn't get the job done, and Jericho mocks Heyman for failing. Heyman's not happy about it, and then he brings up the fact that Brock never lost the title. Of course, it was because of course, Seth Rollins for what he did, and Heyman, and he says this is why Brock should have had a buy into Mania, a victim in Reigns, 28 other participants, and one beast, one Brock Lesnar. And Heyman says, you know what, if we subscribe to the network, we get Brock Lesnar versus Sheamus, Brock versus Jericho, Brock versus Dean Ambrose. And then Heyman promises that Brock Lesnar will turn the Royal Rumble into Suplex City. And then Jericho says, you know what? What if it came down to me and Brock Lesnar? What happens if it's me and Lesnar as the final two? And what happens if Jericho throws Lesnar over the top rope and wins the Rumble and walks out a 7-time world champion? But before Paul Heyman can answer, Brock Lesnar finally comes out. And then all of a sudden we get Roman Reigns come into the ring. And then Lesnar enters the ring and then Roman Reigns hits a spear on Brock Lesnar. And then out comes the League of Nations. They all attack Roman Reigns, and then Rusev decides to go after Brock Lesnar. Yeah, big mistake with that. And let's just say he got a trip to Suplex City, bitch. And then he goes after Sheamus, and then Del Rio gets taken to Suplex City, and then Sheamus gets hit with an F5, and then another spear from Roman Reigns, and then out goes the lights, and the Wyatt family, of course, started going after Roman Reigns as Reigns attacks Braun Strowman, then Eric Rowan, and then gets a kick from Luke Harper, and a spinning clothesline from him, and then he hits the Sister Abigail on Roman Reigns, and then the Wyatt family goes after Brock Lesnar, and then Bray Wyatt hits Brock Lesnar with Sister Abigail. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, when was the last time you ever saw Brock Lesnar, I mean, get taken down like that especially by someone like the Wyatt family? I mean, this was a crazy way to end this edition of Monday Night Raw. So, Fletcher, how do you describe all this mayhem?
It's like you said, Michael Bullock. It is that mayhem. Chaos ensues, and all hell broke loose tonight. That's all you need to say about that. This was beautiful. This was amazing, and this is what you expect in a Royal Rumble. You're gonna see some insanity. You're gonna see some crazy stuff. We already know who number one is. We know that's Roman Reigns. But for him to get to the promised land, to win it, and outlast 29 others, this is what you had to do. This was a solid way to close it. You know, you had Jericho there, you had Lesnar there, you had the Wyatts, the League of Nations. These are all the guys that are all going to be involved in this fight. Now, very interesting. How is the luck of the draw going to come into play? Because remember, in a Royal Rumble, the numbers are drawn at random. Well, we hope they're drawn at random, but this time around, I don't know. I mean, because of the fact that the McMahons are so hell-bent on Roman Reigns not walking out, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I mean, they could literally stack the deck against them right off the gun, and we could see some real bad things for Roman Reigns before, the so-called cavalry shows up. So I could see them throwing Big Show at number 2, members of the League of Nations very early in this Royal Rumble before you get guys like Dean Ambrose, maybe the Usos. Lesnar will probably be towards the end of the Rumble. And then, of course, the big surprises. Where are they going to be? Because I've heard rumors about AJ Styles. I've heard rumors of Triple H being in the Rumble this year. So I think Triple H is going to be towards the end. AJ may be towards the end. So we don't know how this is going to play out. And then what type of leadway is there going to be in this Rumble too? So, I mean, we're going to see how this plays out. But one thing's for sure. You want insanity, you want chaos, you got it. And then some here tonight on Raw. Florio, it's yours.
Would you consider that the segment of the night there, Fletch? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, it was segment of the night, no doubt about it. I can't disagree with it. No.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure on that. So, yep, I definitely agree. This was to me the segment of the night. I mean, like I said, we already know Chris Jericho. We already know his body of work when it comes to the mic work. Of course, he was joined by maybe the greatest of all time, Paul Heyman. I mean, that's a match made in heaven right there. I mean, that was well done, the back and forth with Jericho and Heyman. And then we bring out Lesnar, we bring out Reigns, they go at it, and then we get the League of Nations in there, we get the Wyatts in there, and then all hell breaks loose. I mean, yeah, that was a fantastic way to close out this this solid go-home edition of Monday Night Raw. The message was that it's not just the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar show. And while I applaud the effort, it would have been nice if they had established this before tonight. I don't know if anyone was convinced that the Wyatts or the League of Nations have a real chance to win at the Rumble, but at least Lesnar and Reigns have issues with other men heading into the match. The key thing tonight is that we never saw Triple H. Vince McMahon said that he would exact his revenge when Reigns least expected it. So my guess remains, just like everyone else, just like a lot of people, but my guess still remains that he will do just that as a late entrant in the Rumble match. So, overall, this Raw tonight delivered good final hype for the Rumble match, but it kind of failed to make good use of the time allotted to promoting the other matches on Sunday's show a little bit, so that's just how I feel about it. So now it's time for the overall review of Monday Night Raw. Michael Fletcher, you started off. Your overall thoughts on this Go Home to Royal Rumble edition tonight?
You know what? Like you said earlier, I kind of agree with what you're saying. Great build for the Rumble, but they kind of left us a little bit of wanting more. I think that's the key word, wanting more. Wanting more on our secondary fights, which I believe they're going to build it more because, remember, there's a SmackDown before the Royal Rumble, so I think they're going to build that there. And then, of course, you're going to get the build-up on the WWE Network, and you're going to get the build-up on WWE.com. So don't worry about build-up or excitement for the Rumble event. I think you're going to get enough build at least in the next few days, because we're all kind of right now, we're starting to see that finish line. Our eyes are starting to get geared towards Orlando, Florida, and the Amway Arena, because we're all getting ready to jump on that crazy ride known as the Road to WrestleMania. So we're all kind of geared up now and everything else. So this was a good show. Not a great show. This was a passable show. I could give this about a 7 out of 10. I might be overscoring that, but I think it was good enough because, like I said, they brought home the emphasis of the Royal Rumble match. They brought home the fact that, yes, Roman Reigns does get the #1 draw. But not only that, but you finally got the interaction with Lesnar, with Jericho. We got a little bit of the Wyatt, so you know they're going to be involved in the Rumble. We also got a very big few good things coming out as it relates to the League of Nations. So you know they're going to be a united front trying to get rid of Roman Reigns, trying to get rid of him, trying to take him out of the Rumble, and thus preserving the authority to give them the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion that they're trying to hope and get. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I thought this was a very, very good Monday Night Raw, at least to go home with. And then at the end of the day, we'll just see what happens next. So, Florio, it is yours. Give us your thoughts about tonight's Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, solid 7 out of 10. I agree with that. Some good matches on this show, some good segments too. That main event segment, definitely the segment of the night. The opening segment was the second best segment of the night, no doubt. As far as matches go, Ambrose and Kalisto against Sheamus and Del Rio, definitely the fight of the night. Second best fight of the night, I probably would have to go with Roman Reigns against Rusev, and not sure how to round out the top 3, but those were the top 2 fights for sure. Some of the other matches were just there. Of course, we had 2 Dud enhancement matches. Of course, the dreaded Total Diva Showcase match. That was your typical ho-hum diva fight. Natalya and Brie Bella, and then of course that ridiculous match with the Big Show against Heath Slater. That's something that never should have went down, but it is what it is. Filler matches as always, and then that's I think maybe that solid match with Jey Uso and Biggie Langston. I think that could round out the top 3 for me. Then you had a couple of other solid matches. That 6-man with the Wyatts against the Dudleys and Ryback, and that 8-man though. That was to me the sleeper fight of the night. I mean, I really did not expect that thing to be anything good, but hey, I'll give him credit for where credit is due. Great, very good hype for the Royal Rumble match. I mean, that's the match that should be getting the most hype anyway, because not only is it the Royal Rumble match, but this Royal Rumble match is for the coveted WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt. So you definitely want to emphasize how important and prestigious that is. And I'm hoping that on Sunday at the Royal Rumble, they'll do what they used to do back in the day. And I know you guys will remember this along with me, going back to the yesteryear days. Hopefully, we'll get those pre-taped comments from select participants in the Royal Rumble match, putting over how important winning this particular Rumble is, because you're not just getting a title shot at WrestleMania. You're getting the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt if you win this thing. So that's pretty much all there is to say about that. So before I throw it to you, Bullock, 2 matches. Well, 1 match and 1 segment has been announced for this upcoming edition of SmackDown on Thursday night. The final stop on the road to the Royal Rumble. We're going to have a Miz TV segment where the Miz will have special guests, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. Ambrose and Owens in the same ring at the same time, 3 days before their what should be epic last man standing match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble, which I think is going to steal the undercard. And then this match probably marred by authority shenanigans, a 4-on-1 handicap match, all 4 members of the League of Nations going up against the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns. So those are that's what's been announced for SmackDown. The rest will be announced when the spoilers come out tomorrow night, right around this time or a little earlier. So that's all there is on that. So 7 out of 10 for this edition of Raw. So Bullock, do you agree with our rating? Do you have it higher? Do you have it lower? Your overall thoughts on this show tonight?
Yeah, I'll give it 7 out of 10 as well. I mean, I thought this was a solid, I thought this was a good, not great edition of Monday Night Raw. The go home to Royal Rumble edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, they certainly built a lot of hype into the Royal Rumble match. So basically you pretty much touched on everything else. So So let's just put a bow on this edition of the Wrestling Forum for tonight.
Well, before we do that, Bullock, we have 2 quick new segments that we're going to, you remember we debuted these segments last week.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We debuted these segments last week, and they were so over that I think we're going to make it a weekly staple from now on. As right now, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Fletcher, as Michael Fletcher is going to give us now his ROH/RWA insights. So, Michael Fletcher, what's going on in the world of Ring of Honor as well as RWA? You say you have a special event. I'm going to give you the chance to promote it right here and now, and I'll make sure that we do our best to promote this, what should be an epic show coming up Saturday night.
All right, well, first off, let me hit you guys with the weekly ROH. If you guys don't have comment on your guy, do get it. Or if you guys watch WJAR Channel 10, they actually do the shows every weekend, Saturday night, right after Saturday Night Live, Sunday night around midnight, around 12:05 in the morning. Is on WJR Channel 10. This week, they had The Addiction. Frankie Kazarian and the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. They went up against ACH and Alex Shelley. The Addiction won the fight, but then Christopher Daniels got a little bit too antsy. Started beating up on Alex Shelley, trying to make an example out of him. The president of ROH, Nigel McGuinness, says if you continue your attitude, you are going to get punished. And Christopher Daniels basically called his bluff. Well, guess what? Daniels has been suspended from ROH for a period of time. We don't know how long he's going to be, but we'll wait and see what happens. One of the other fights of the night we had was Adam Page going one-on-one with Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe wins with the Froggy Bow. Then BJ Whitmer comes out and calls out Mr. Wrestling 4. Why is he calling him out? Because he believes that Steve Corino is behind the mask. Well, Steve Corino disagrees. He's like, no, and basically dusts BJ Whitmer off. In the main event of the evening, was Adam Cole and Michael Bennett. This was the last time you're going to get to see Michael Bennett on ROH, folks, because now he's gone to TNA, and Anthony will cover that in a minute, against Red Dragon and the Young Bucks in a triple threat elimination tag team warfare where anything goes, because it was a Philly street fight. The winners of the fight was the Young Bucks. They got the victory over the Kingdom, where Mike Bennett got pinned for the 1-2-3, and then a little post-fight where AJ Styles actually showed up, helped the Young Bucks, and they basically destroyed Maria Kanellis and Michael Bennett. And subsequently, at that moment, they announced that they were leaving Ring of Honor to go to TNA. So that was your ROH minute. Now, Saturday night, this could be altered, guys, because of the fact with the impending snow. We do have snow coming this weekend. So right now, this show is basically on the fence. We don't know if it's going to happen or not. If it does, it goes down this Saturday night at the Chop Shop at 681 Broadway in Providence, Rhode Island. It's the RWA Chopperversary 3, the 3-year anniversary of the RWA Chop Shop. And already 6 matches have been announced, and this is not even official. This is not even done. The card's not done yet. So this is 6 matches. Let me hit you up real brief with this. In the first fight of the night, we got is Vinny Malinardi. He's going to go one-on-one with the Saturday Night Delight, Vincenzo Abruzzi. This is a one-on-one matchup. Basically, it's an RWA rookie versus one of the mainstays of the Renegade Wrestling Alliance, an RWA original. How is this going to go out? Is the young lion going to take out the old lion, or is the old lion going to show the little cub that I'm still king of the RWA jungle? We'll wait and see what happens there. Also, we also got is Thor Davidson. He's going to go one-on-one with Judge Chambers. Is Thor going to use the power of the gods to take down the Judge, or is the judge going to hold Thor in contempt and toss his ass in jail? We'll wait and see what happens there. Very exciting fight as well. We got an RWA tag team title fight. That's right, guys. The tag team gold is on the line, as it is going to be. Wait a minute. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I'm sorry. It's gonna be Kalen Stone and Anthony Stone and Kalen Thomas, the Destruction Under Impact DUI, as they go up against the reigning, defending, undisputed Renegade Wrestling Alliance Tag Team Champions of the World, Mike Monteiro, the Ace Mike Monteiro, and Jason Devine, the Influence. They're gonna put their titles on the line, and then coming up after that, we got a interesting tag team fight, as it's going to be the Middlesex Express. They're making their RWA tag team debut, and they go up against, well, practically two of the most recognizable names in Renegade Wrestling Alliance, the Hoods, Davey Cash and Chris Pyro. They're teaming up, and this is going to be a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. And then we got a 6-person tag team fight, and I need to screen cap this because I want you guys to take a look at two stunning baby girls on this one. And let me see if I can get it for you guys. Just give me 1 second here. All right, now you're on my site. You should be a link to me. And here it is, guys. Look at this match. The heavy hitters, Shay Callow and Frank Champion, and the very dangerous Helen Vane. I mean, guys, this girl, she is stunning. But she's lethal. She's dangerous. This girl can go from 0 to 1,000 in about a few seconds. I mean, you want to talk about true heel? She is. And then you got Amanda Fox, Chris Cruz, and Monster Mac. I mean, these are three of my good friends. I know these guys really well. Much respect to these guys. They're gonna get a great matchup, and this is a great 6-person tag. And then one of the key fights of the night, and this one is gonna be very interesting. Look at this, guys. 2 Buff and Insane Dick Lane goes up against the Phoenix Legacy. RWA's a former 3-time RWA Triple Crown champion, and everybody's wondering, what's the Triple Crown Championship? Let's just say it's the equivalent of the World Heavyweight Championship. That is the big belt of all in the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. T Phoenix, basically the man, the myth, the legend, and his son, AJ Punk, basically the future of the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. They're teaming up to take on this tag team, and there's some bad blood. Now, for 2Biff, he is really new. This could be a major stepping stone for him. Now, for Dick Lane, he defeated AJ Punk about a month ago at Christmas Chaos. It was a pre-show fight before the main event. And so for AJ Punk, he's looking for a revenge and a little payback. For Dick Lane, he's out to get after T Phoenix because of the fact that T Phoenix knocked out his mentor, his partner in crime, Tom Billington, and sent him into retirement after a career-ending fight went down at the Chop Shop. So there's a lot of moving parts, to say the very least. And I haven't even mentioned a couple of other names that's supposed to be on the show. We got JT Dunn coming off of the 5-star Shakespearean drama fight he had with Anthony Green that I called the fight of the year, if you guys remember back at the Wrestling Forums year-end award show. And then He's going to be in action. They haven't announced who he's going to fight yet, so we're waiting for him. Plus, we also now heard that Jack Connor will be at the show, and more importantly, the RWA Triple Crown champion, the Unbalanced Messiah, Christopher Dozier, is going to be in the house. We haven't heard what's going to happen to them, but one thing needs to be cleared up, and I'm calling out RWA management right here, right now, on the forum tonight. Gentlemen and ladies of the RWA management, you have to clear up the mess of the Christmas Chaos Throwdown fight, and you got to give us a clear-cut #1 contender for the Triple Crown Championship for your first major pay-per-view event of the year that's oddly going down the day before Valentine's Day on Saturday night, February 13th at Elite Status. You gotta give us a clear-cut resolution because you left us in limbo. Two men were battling it out. At the end, Christopher Dozier came out, laid both men out, and we had no winner of our throwdown fight, which was like the Royal Rumble, and we had no winner. Two guys were left at the end. It was Mike Grassa and Jammin' Jack Connor. They were the final two. So let me throw 4 scenarios. You either restart this throwdown fight with Grassa and Connor, and first man to get thrown over the top rope onto the floor, you're the loser. The man who's left standing in the ring, you're #1 contender. Or do a singles fight, one-on-one, Connor versus Grassa, a triple threat for the RWA Triple Crown Championship at Elite Status, Grassa versus Connor versus Christopher Dozier, or here's a 4th scenario, and Anthony, I think you're going to like this one. Why not let's go back to WrestleMania 10. Do a coin flip. The winner of the fight gets the option. Go first or go second. That's right, RWA fans. How would you like to see 2 Triple Crown Championship fights on one night? Come on, RWA. Do it. Make it happen. That's your little Mikey's Mindset minute. Florio, what happened in TNA, and set us up for tomorrow night's show?
Wow, I don't know how I can follow all that good stuff, but man, oh man, that's awesome. But of course, tonight, well, later tonight rather, seeing as we're now after midnight here on the East Coast, we are going to have the newest edition of Impact Wrestling on Pop Television. And here is a non-spoiler match listing for this show here tonight, like I gave you all last week, and I got it right here for you now. Michael Fletcher, I know this is something you're going to be looking very much forward to. We're going to have the TNA in-ring debut of your boy, Mike Bennett. Yes, the Miracle, Mike Bennett, will make his TNA Impact Wrestling in-ring debut when he goes up against a young man by the name of Pepper Parks. Needless to say, we already know what's going to happen there. Something else for Fletcher. Well, this is something that both Fletcher and I would like. Our boys, Beer Money, my boy Robert Roode, Fletcher's boy James Storm, the Cowboy, they're going to be going up against Eli Drake and Jesse Goddard. One-on-one match. The charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy goes one-on-one with Tyrus, better known to WWE fans as Brodus Clay. Those two will go one-on-one. And we have not one, but 2 championship matches on this show here tonight. The first one, for the Knockouts Championship. Champion Gail Kim will defend the title against challenger and her greatest rival, Awesome Kong. Yes, Kim and Kong for the Knockouts Championship here tonight. And then in the main event of the evening, I told you there was going to be a special. I told you were going to want to tune into this TNA Impact moment here, folks. Well, here's the reason why. How is this for a main event? If this doesn't give you any feeling of Shakespearean drama whatsoever, I don't know what will. Main event of the evening, Ethan Carter III, best known to WWE fans as Derek Bateman. He will defend the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Matt Hardy in a last man standing match. And here's the caveat. If Matt Hardy loses, his TNA wrestling career is over. He must leave. Wait until you see how this match goes down. If you didn't see Michael Fletcher's Facebook page about a week or two ago, he posted a spoiler article, photo, or something about how this match went down. All I can say is, you will be shocked. You will be in awe after what you see go down in this title match here tonight. So keep your eye out for that. So that is your Impact Wrestling preview for this week. The in-ring debut of Miracle Mike Bennett, Beer Money against Eli Drake and Jesse Goddard, Jeff Hardy one-on-one with Tyrus, Gail Kim defending the Knockouts title against Awesome Kong, and EC3 versus Matt Hardy in a last man standing match for the TNA World Heavyweight title. If Hardy loses, his career is over. So that's your non-spoiler match listing. There will be other segments, including Kurt Angle's farewell tour. There's going to be something going on with that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. What a match he had against Drew Galloway last week. Just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it wasn't a 5-star classic or anything, but it was definitely a solid 4-star match. That was one hell of a match to close out last week's show. So, all right. So let's get that. Now we'll put the ball on this edition of the Wrestling Forum. A lot of great information for you all here tonight. Of course, shout-outs coming your way now. Michael Bullock will start it off. Then he'll give it to Fletcher. And then I will set the table for Strictly Sports. Derek Ferreira has released the docket. I'll share it all with you in a moment. So, Michael Bullock, front and center.
All right. We thank you so very much for tuning in for another awesome edition of the Wrestling Forum here tonight. And of course, shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who support our shows, whether it's this or Strictly Sports. It doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. And of course, shout outs to all of our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Matt Ward, and Jason Hixenbaugh. And of course, shout out to all of our friends from our high school days, starting with Al Brederson, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, and the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaisa Butler, and of course to the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferreira, for his continued success on the sports blog. So that's going to pretty much do it for me. I'll save the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night on Strictly Sports. So until then, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. So, Fletch, I give it to you.
Yes, as always, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there who continue to support the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports. You guys are the best in the world. Major shout out to the super fans out there. You guys already know who you guys are. To all my friends in the junior high and high school days, you guys already know who you guys are. And I want to show much love to you guys as well. To the 2184 crew, I got to spend a little bit of time with you guys, with some of you guys today. And you guys have always been there for me. I love you guys as much as everything in this world. Like I said, I also want to give a big shout out to the Renegade Wrestling Alliance, to you guys as well, because you guys have been so good, not only to myself, but to Anthony, to Michael Bullock, to all the guys. You guys, it's been trying to push for a Wrestling Forum reunion to get into one of your shows, but Anthony is so busy with his career, and Bullock is always busy. I'm always either I'm working or something like that. But I hope someday you'll get all four of us. Maybe if you guys ever come back to East Providence, for maybe if there's a show in Providence where all four of us will be able to do a show together. We would love to be a part of your show, at least be in the crowd, because trust me, guys, you do not want to miss an RWA show. It's really great. It's very exciting. I mean, you want very good professional wrestling, you get it. I'm always entertained by it many times. I know Megan Silva, the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, she has gone to a few of these events in her day, and she's always telling me, Mike, they're awesome. They're always amazing. So I want to give a big shout out to you guys as well. And please, guys, if you haven't done it yet, go to rwawrestling.net right now. Get your tickets for the show. All the proceeds for this event goes to the Russo family. This is a very special benefit event for them. The Russo family is actually very popular to the RWA family as well. So all the proceeds goes to them. If you got, it's $10 to get in, $5 for kids. I think it's like up to the from 2 to 7 years old. It's about $5 to get in. If you're under 2 years old, you go in for free. It's a great family event. 4 hours of professional wrestling. That's what they're doing for this special benefit. I ran down practically not the entire card. Like I said, there is supposed to be some other matches that are about to be announced. When they are announced, I will announce them right here on I'll either do it on my Brainsphere 95 page, or I will do it on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever. So guys, definitely do that. As always, that's it for my shout outs. I will be on the show on Friday night. I will be on Strictly Sports. So Anthony, I'm definitely an all-in. So until then, I'll see you guys on Friday night. I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routine. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. Florio, take it home.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Michael Fletcher. And yes, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as ridiculously over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, our super fans, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hixenbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, Megan Silva, with Kaiser Butler, and of course, all of our friends from our high school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, Rob Parsons, and our others are some other super fans out there. You know who you are. And of course, I'll save the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night. And speaking of Friday night, of course, Friday night, 10:30, Strictly Sports, right back here on the Zone 25. Very happy to hear Michael Fletcher will be here because we got a big show coming up. And here is the docket for Strictly Sports this Friday night, courtesy of the Strictly Sports Facebook page and Derek Ferreira. Should John Calipari go to the Brooklyn Nets? Okay, I didn't know there was any rumblings about that, but we'll get into that. From the world of Major League Baseball, Justin Upton has signed with the Detroit Tigers. Mike Mullart hired as the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And then in our double main event, we will preview both the AFC Championship game between the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Brady versus Manning, how fitting is that for the right to go to Super Bowl 50?
For the 17th time.
17th time indeed. We'll get into that. And we'll also preview the NFC Championship game with the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Carolina Panthers. And then in the main event, of course, our first NBA power rankings. Of course, on the last show, we had our first NHL power rankings. This time around, we're going to take it to the hardwood in the NBA power rankings. I wonder who number one could be. I have to think about that one. Oh, wait, I already know who it is. You'll have to know. You'll know on Friday night.
Actually, the top three are practically the most easiest for me. I already know my top three easy.
Same here. And then a programming note, Saturday night this weekend, of course, Derek has noted, the 2016 Royal Rumble preview show could be in jeopardy this weekend due to an impending nor'easter to hit Saturday night. He'll have details in the coming days with the future forecasts. So So there's your docket for Strictly Sports. John Calipari, should he go to the Brooklyn Nets? Justin Upton signing with the Detroit Tigers. Mike Mularkey hired as the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. AFC and NFC championship game previews. And the NBA power rankings. Hopefully, we'll be able to do a Royal Rumble preview show on Saturday night, and then, of course, Sunday night on Fletcher's channel, Grace Fan 95, our complete recap of the Royal Rumble. Definitely want to get into that. But before we go, of course, our top story, I know Michael Bullock wasn't with us when we started this, but we want to once again acknowledge the passing of not one but two individuals tonight. One from the world of professional wrestling, the other from the world of music. From the world of professional wrestling, I don't know if Bullock heard the news today.
Yeah, Iron Mike Shark passed away.
There's
There he
that's a screenshot right there of the late great Iron Mike Shark, who passed away at the age of 64 due to undisclosed causes, which I'm pretty sure means the same as natural causes. So that is Iron Mike Shark. I mean, you heard me go down his accolades early at the start of our show tonight, and then the other big death today that was announced from the world of music, and this is one that hits very close to home for me. The founder of the Eagles, Glenn Frey, he passed away today at the age of 67. A personal favorite of mine growing up, and my favorite member of the Eagles, although I love all the Eagle members very much so equally, but Glenn was the one who influenced me the most, and this is one that's going to hit very, very close to home for me. So, and like I said, we dedicated this show tonight to the memories of both Iron Mike Shark, who passed away at 64, and Glenn Frey, who passed away at the age of 67 due to complications of rheumatoid arthritis, acute ulcerative colitis, and pneumonia while recovering from intestinal surgeries. So yeah, definitely want to acknowledge their passings here tonight. So that'll do it for this edition of the Wrestling Forum. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. And until Friday night for the big edition of Strictly Sports, it's ridiculously over Anthony Floyer here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Hardcore Python Derek Ferreira and Michael Fletcher, the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, saying, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Road up Fortune Forward style. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. And until Friday night for Strictly Sports, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Zone 25 and YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And for now, it's ridiculously over Anthony Floyer with the Phenom Michael Bullock. So long and rest in peace, both Iron Mike Shark and Glenn Frey. You will both be surely missed. Rest in peace and Godspeed. So long.